The Good Guy Experience.
What's up, everybody? I am your host, KJ, and we are the Good Guy Experience. How's everybody feeling tonight?
Great. Feeling good.
All right, to my right, we got my main man. You know him. Mr. Tyrone is back in the building, everybody. Show some love for Mr. Tyrone.
What up?
Oh, yeah. And to his right, we got the one, the only Miss Nikita is in the house. Everybody show some love. And Black Pearl, the one, the only, is in the building, everybody. Once again, it's on. And we have our special guest returning for the second week straight. She did so good the first time, we had to bring her back again, guys. This show, Tillmon is in the house. Welcome, show. Welcome. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling all right. I can't complain.
I feel like this is a topic that you're gonna rock. This is right in your field, so I feel like this is gonna be something that you are gonna rock and just let loose on.
Right up my alley.
All right. So right now, guys, if you're looking at my set and it's a little bit different, I'm actually on vacation. I'm in the great state of Florida right now, man. It's awesome. You know, I'm a warm weather guy, so I'm loving it down here. The warm weather is rocking. I'm loving it. How's the weather up there, guys? Is it nice and chilly for you?
Man, don't ask us about the weather. I'm hating. I ain't gonna tell you. Don't tell them.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So, guys at home, we welcome you back. Thank you for tuning in to the Good Guy Experience. We got a great show for you. But as always, before we get into our topic, which is the disconnect between the Black community and law enforcement, we have show Tillmon on, who is in law enforcement. She's going to come in and help us break up some of those myths, some of those misconceptions, and try to figure out why there's this disconnect between the Black community and the law enforcement community. But before we get into that, we want to get into our hot topics. I got a strange one for you guys. I don't know how well you guys know this interesting fellow here. Mr. Arthur.
What?
That's the Mimi King.
Hold on.
What did Arthur do?
Hey, it's not what he did. It's not what he's going to do no more. Arthur is ending after 25 years. The world's most popular student, Artvark, is retiring.
Nah, it's a controversy. What? Stop playing.
Nah, what did he do? Who did he touch?
Happened? Yeah, what episode just made somebody get their feelings hurt?
He didn't touch somebody, or
they got tired of y'all internet people putting beer bottles and liquor bottles in his hands and stuff like that while he was walking down the street.
Still gonna keep happening. It's over. It's out there.
Arthur people got tired of it, so he's retiring. I mean, I know my sister. I know she's out there watching. I got so tired of every evening, every morning, every time I'm walking down the street, or however the song goes, I would just hear it blasting from the room. But it was definitely a good show, an educational show for the kids. And I hate that it's ending after 25 years, but the winter of 2022 will be the final season of Arthur. So everybody say goodbye to your favorite Artvark. I'm a little
They must
bit
have found them old tweets that Arthur
But you know, the memes is out of our hands. We can't control it. His retirement.
When you say it's above me now.
It's above me now. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, they can't stop those memes. They out there now.
Yeah. They still make memes about Michael Jordan and he's retired. So
you see how that right hand balled up and people be putting Hennessy, Moet, all that stuff in his hands and stuff like that. So I mean, it just baffled me all the time. All right, so on to other news. Your boy, the baby, is in some hot water right now. He had some.
He sure does.
At least nobody died this time.
Some homophobic slurs or something like that he said. I'm going to try to share my screen really quick, and I'm going to try to show that and bring that up. Give me 1 second, guys.
Show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if you put like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas, lights up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air. Let's be real about this. Yeah, keep it real.
Some of y'all suspect as a motherfucker. Let's be real. Well, at least somebody got fed up and did this.
Turn the light on. Put a hand in the air with a cell phone and then turn the light on. If you special too.
George Bush. They George Bush them.
So if you can get past all the bleep, 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 your boy Baby is in hot water for some of the things that he was saying, some of the disrespectful things that he said. He made several crude, disparaging comments about women and gay men in that viral video. All the lights went up and things like that. He was saying several crazy things. He said while performing at the Rolling Loud concert, the 29-year-old rapper told the crowd, if you didn't show up today with AIDS, HIV, or any of them deadly sexual transmitted diseases, it'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put your cell phone light up. All the lights went up. All the lights went up, gay or straight, he said. You want to know why? Because even my gay fans don't got fucking AIDS, excuse me for my language, a stupid A and stupid ass niggas. Hey, sorry for my language, guys. I'm reading verbatim. They don't got AIDS. My gay fans take care of themselves. They ain't going for that thing. They ain't no junkies on the street. So he later retracted that statement and says, anybody who ever been affected by AIDS, HIV, y'all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, even though I have no intentions of offending nobody. So my apologies. But the LGBT community, I ain't tripping on y'all. Y'all business is y'all business. So my question is not to get into that. We're not going to get into what, his feelings or anything like that. But my question is the baby canceled? Is the baby going to be canceled now? Because once you start getting into those things.
Yes.
I didn't even have a subscription. I'm sorry.
Is he canceled? Probably by some people, not everybody though. People still gonna rock with him.
What do you mean?
R. Kelly peed on people and was raping women, and people still love his music and bump it. So somebody can still bump his stuff.
Well, is R. Kelly a good example to bring up? Because right now, that man, the last time I saw him, he was up there with the struggle fro, like, what's going on?
Well, but people still rock with him, though. I think last show people were talking about they rock with him. People. So, and plus, being offensive, yeah, that's offensive, but he says a lot of other offensive things about women, and some of his songs sound like a Klan rally. He kills more N-words in his songs than the Klan, so we're not going to be offended by that either. So
who we talking about?
More the same for me. It's all offensive.
Are you talking about the baby?
Yeah, lyrics. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were still talking about R. Kelly. I'm like, R. Kelly did a lot of outlandish stuff.
No, I was talking about the baby. No, R. Kelly was just peeing on people and raping young.
He just had a urinary tract infection on everything.
Shout out to Dave Chappelle, because that wasn't really a thing until Dave Chappelle did that little skit. I'm gonna piss on you. You haven't seen that.
No, that was a video. That was a video. People watching that, video. Him peeing on the girl.
Somebody said Donald Trump just made transphobic remarks and nobody is talking about it. But there's a difference.
Standards way lower for Donald Trump.
Is it?
And then being the baby. I do feel like it's going to be an uphill battle for him from now on. I think that those remarks were a little, they were a little out there, especially the way he said it and things like that. It's not like when we came up, guys. When we came up, we had heard lyrics in the songs that we listened to, that you heard it, it was there, you brushed it off and kept moving. Today, anything you say is put under a microscope. Anything that you do is put under a microscope. We are in a sensitive time where anything you say, like what do they say? Anything you say can and will be used against you. So my prayers out to the baby. I'm hoping that his career can bounce back from this, because actually, besides his song sound the exact damn same, I think he's a pretty good
song
artist.
every time.
Doom, 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 doom.
This is why I say I don't have a subscription to cancel. I just never.
Man, he's gonna be all right. He'll never be a Will Smith. He won't be in Hollywood or nothing, but he can put out some mixtapes and make some money. He'll be all right.
Okay, all right.
His box
is gonna
be
he won't be able to
now.
get jiggy with it, huh? You said he won't be able to get jiggy with it.
Nah, they don't play that.
All right. And on to other news, Miss Simone.
Did you just breathe heavily on Simone?
No, not on Simone. Just
the whole thing around.
Can we
stop looking at Simone? Can we stop looking at Simone?
I just wanted everybody to get the picture.
I'm like, I'm talking to Tyrone, but Simone isn't.
No. I'm not breathing at Simone. It's just the whole conversations that I've seen over it and throughout the day.
I think what irritates me in general is we put so much focus on the absolute, just the worst parts of a situation. She's human.
Right. Maybe she's just burnt out.
I can't decide to cancel myself. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. Everyone's like,
hold on, guys. Hold on. I haven't even given you the Simone Biles withdraws from individual all-around gymnastics competition at Tokyo Olympics to focus on mental health well-being. She's told people that she just isn't there. She just doesn't feel it. She needs to take this time away. I want to ask the panel, do you guys feel like that's accurate? Do you feel like she's telling the truth? Or do we feel like when they took away, when she did her move and they said that move was too much of a degree of difficulty, that move will not be counted because other people will try it and they will get themselves injured?
It doesn't matter. It still could be mental health. It's just like when we see people get shot. It affects us mentally. Right? Mental health does not have to be something specific. It could be general. It could be, I'm tired of being strong. I can't do this. Right. And then the fact that they're getting upset because she's like, I just can't do it. Would they have been better off if she spazzed the hell off in the middle of one of her competitions? Then they were like, Simone Biles, breakdown. Right. And then it'd be like, 25% of African American. It would have turned into something
crazy black woman time.
Exactly. So she said to herself, which is wonderful because we don't see it in our community the way we should see it. She said, you know what? I pick me. Boop. Take it or leave it.
And that's okay because it's okay to say, okay, hey, I'm burnt out. Yeah. I can't do it no more. And I'm going to leave it here on the table.
Absolutely.
And this is where I'm leaving it. And is she not the one who had some kind of issues with her coach? Is she the one?
Yeah.
I did.
She was around the gymnastics team,
around the people
when they had the dude raping people, and there was a
like
so she's been around from that.
She competed with broken toes, broken parts.
Yeah.
Listen, as an Western American woman,
I get it.
It's very hard for us to be like, I can't do this anymore. Right? We always hear, it's okay, girl, put your big girl panties on and keep moving, right? Especially as a single parent, you're like, or for me, I feel like as a single parent and working in an industry where it's predominantly white, I feel like there's never a time to say I'm not okay. It's never a time because it always gets turned around to you're being an angry black woman or you can't do the job. So there's plenty of times where I've been in bed like, I'm not waking up today. And then the voice goes, yes, you are, because if you don't go to work, or you got 3 kids who need you. So I applaud her because it looks easy, but I almost promise you she's been thinking about it way longer than we realize.
I mean, look, the way I see it, I think we just got to normalize like the mental health deal.
Yeah,
I see it another way too, because I've been a coach for like 15 years. So, part of me is like, wants me to say, I'll push through. But I've adjusted that throughout the years with dealing with athletes. But I see it like an injury that you just can't see. I don't necessarily feel like she's a hero. I just feel like she got injured. Mental health is like an injury you don't see. And so it's like, unfortunately, I wish she could compete. But, I don't, get too emotional about it either way. I feel like she got injured, emotional health, you just can't see it. It's just invisible. So, and then move on and not keep making a big deal out of it all over the place.
Mental health is the noise that you can't, like if it's noisy outside, you can go inside your house, close the door, right? If your kids or there's a party, you can put some headphones. But how do you quiet the noise inside your head? You know what I mean? So yeah.
And I think nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes. It's really, really tough to be in the gymnastics. She's competing for the Olympics stuff. You don't know what she had to go through, endure to get to where she is. And she's probably struggling, like you said, mentally, physically, all the way around. So I commend her for doing it as well.
And her legacy is sealed. She's still the greatest.
Yeah,
they name moves after her.
They can't take that away from her.
Yeah, she's good. She's all right.
I think she has 5 moves named after her.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree. She had the goat bedazzled on her shoulder. I thought that was awesome. But my question, let me ask this last question before we move on. When she did, I forgot what move it was, but she did a move, and that move was discredited. They said if other athletes, the move was so great that if other athletes tried it, they would injure themselves. Now, could some of this be frustration? Like, look,
I'm sure it is.
I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to take away my greatness. You're not letting me be me. Because in my personal opinion, if someone does a move that's so great that nobody else can do it, guess what that tells me? That damn silver medal and that bronze medal is still available. But this gold one right here, that's locked up.
They didn't do that. They changed the whole scoring for it. They've done the same thing. Right. The one time they banned dunking when when Kareem was in college. They do that. They don't. When we're great, it shocks them and they try to do something about it. But it's nothing new. Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. But I want to send much respect to that young lady. She is great. Hopefully she'll come back in the next Olympics and she will rock it. I'm not sure if she's out for all of the Olympics or just the team sports or
she's done.
Whatever
now.
she's done. Okay, whatever she decides to do, I wish her the best. Which brings us to the reason we are all here. Show it's time for you to shine. So what I want to do is I want to take the time to show. Would you please express to the people at home what you do, who you are, and why you're here this evening?
Okay, my name is Sho. I've been in law enforcement for close to 6 years. I get asked a lot why I did it. Honestly, when I graduated from college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with a bachelor's degree. So I was like, well, let's do law enforcement. Now, I didn't do law enforcement as a cliche, you want to help people. I did it just to see what it was like, and I love it. So I'm here just to talk about any issues that anybody may have.
Okay. Well, 2/3 of Black Americans don't trust the police or treat them equally, according to PBS.org. Most white Americans do. Nearly half of Black Americans have very little or no confidence in police officers in their community. Treat people with different skin colors the same, according to the latest PBS NewsHour NPR Martis poll. But overall, only 18% of Americans take that view. An illustration in itself that people of different races are living different realities in the United States. Community trust in law enforcement has eroded somewhat over the past few years as police involved killings of Black people have come to a national attention, prompting pain and outrage. Even in December of 2014, months after the shooting death of teenager Michael Brown by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, a larger number of 41% of Americans had a high degree of confidence in police. Now, knowing that, I want to ask the questions of, before all of this, where did the disconnect between African Americans and law enforcement start? Not so much of those situations of the killing of Black people. We've touched on that, but I want to go deeper into where did the disconnect of Black people and our law enforcement? Where did the disconnect start?
Are you asking Sho?
No, I'm asking the panel. Sorry about that.
The police department was not made for the Black community. It was made against the Black community. The police department started when they ended slavery to ensure that we stayed in check, and the protocols and a lot of the rules that were made for the police department have not been changed. They've just been adjusted because we are now more integrated in the community. But it's always been to make sure that we act right. It's always been made to make sure that the white people don't feel endangered by us. And it's still there. It may not be as much as it was when it first started, but it's still there. And it doesn't matter if it's there 10% or 100%, it's still there. And I know we haven't gone through the trainings like Sho has gone through the trainings, but in certain areas, police officers have reported that their training is customized for the stereotypes that are out there for people of color. And I'm not say Black people, people of color. So it's there. That's where it is. And every once in a while, when we think everything is good, we have a reminder, and it's televised so much that it's drilled into our heads.
That's great stuff, Pearl, as always. Show. Now, one thing that I picked up with Black Pearl said is that things have been adjusted, but they haven't really been changed. And law enforcement has never really been for Black people. As an African American yourself, and in law enforcement, how do you feel about this? That statement? How do you feel? I mean, is that something that you feel like is has some truth to it, or is that a misconception?
I will speak for it from a personal point of view. Thankfully, being in law enforcement, I haven't experienced too much of that nature while being in law enforcement, as far as the laws and how they apply. I think overall I've been treated very fairly being in law enforcement, and that could very well because I am a Black woman. But I've been very fortunate in law enforcement. I have seen some things that I may not always agree with. But we all do the same job, but everybody does things differently. They do things differently.
I want to ask: has there ever been a time where where you might have been, hey, that's enough, chill out, or something like that? Has there ever been any instance where you just were like, hey, look, on a fellow teammate or something, where you're like, hey, you might be going a little bit too far. Let me holler at you a second. This might not be the way to handle this.
Not more so in a physical aspect, more so in verbal. One thing I learned is when you're dealing with someone who's irate and up there, you don't want to go up there with them because it'll never solve anything. You always want to keep it down, keep it low key. Right. I think I spoke with you before. How I'm talking to you guys. This is how I talk to people on a daily basis. I don't yell. I keep it monotone. I keep it cool, calm, and collective. But as far as dealing with coworkers, yes. Hey, and I try not to criticize people in front of who we're dealing with. Pull them to the side and say, hey, look, that wasn't called for. You could have handled it a totally different way.
Okay. What's the reaction to that?
I have gotten some reactions where, they did such and such. You got to have thick skin in this kind of job. You're going to get called every name in the book. You're going to be threatened. Trust me, I have been called the worst things ever. But you got to have tough skin. Okay, you do your job. You go home to your family. That's the main thing you want to do at the end of the day, is to go home. It's not worth it.
Well, one thing that you said that already just stood out as a misconception to me. You said and I know, like you said, everybody's not the same. But when you speak, like you said, you try to speak in a calm voice. When you approach someone, you're speaking in that calm voice. What we see in movies, I'm just going to be honest with you. Mostly that's what we have. We have music and we have movies. So what we see is when somebody pulls up, the first thing they do is see them walking aggressively, stay in the MFing car and shut the, and things like that. So I'm thinking that your approach is very different. So what people can, expect is maybe not so much of and you're not our enemy, no, so much as not of an aggressive approach. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
That some officers may approach you softer or in a soft tone.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I can get a little aggressive at times, but it's a way of how you handle things, because they feed off of your energy. Believe it or not, they will feed off your energy. And if they feel like, this officer can get rowdy, I'm going to challenge the officer. And some do. Some been around the block. They've done things for many years. So they know how to, they know what to do. They know how to speak. But sometimes they wouldn't know how to approach someone who's not giving them the same attitude that that they're giving you.
Facebook
and now that's something that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but that's something that's always worked for me. Not saying that it will always work for me, but thus far it has.
Okay. Facebook user says, great conversation. We appreciate you, Facebook user. What's your name, by the way, Facebook user?
So Show,
I'm sorry.
You're fine. So, Show, I know you have a unique position being in law enforcement. You are a woman of color in law enforcement, and you are a woman of, like, on the street, nobody knows in your regular clothes you're law enforcement, right? Okay. So, what do you feel from someone who works in the inside? What can be done from the inside? Because we always hear about things that we as the community can do, but what can you, as a woman of color in law enforcement, do to help your fellow law enforcement teams that are not of color to, kind of start bridging that gap between law enforcement and the community?
Okay. Well, thankfully, again, I haven't had those issues where I've had coworkers who weren't, minority. They haven't had issues dealing with the public in that sense. But, there are conversations that we've had, and, sometimes they get my opinion on it, because at the old department where I worked at, the town that we worked for was predominantly Black. And just ironically, everybody on shift, if it was a Black officer, they had a white partner. So it was so much easier because there was something that I could do that my partner couldn't, vice versa. So, and sometimes we'll have those moments and we'll talk about it, because, sometimes the public, they'll speak Ebonics and my partner don't know what the hell they're talking about. So, it kind of works hand in hand. It works hand in hand.
Okay. But do you feel that you have to wait for that occurrence to happen?
No, I don't feel necessarily. And, thankfully the department that I'm working at, we do a lot of community events and just getting to know the public and, getting their opinion about things. And we try to come up with ways to get everybody together to say, hey, we can work together no matter what color you are.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
So in a lot of polls, white people do feel like, hey, their police are more protective of them. So let me ask you this. From a police standpoint, yourself or anybody else, is there any truth that you guys may feel more comfortable approaching a white suspect versus a Black suspect? And let me, because this is a thing a lot of Black people do, including myself. Now, a lot of Black people, we talk to each other like this. Yo, what's up, Pearl? How you doing? But that officer get behind you. Is there a problem, sir?
Yeah.
I mean, so we try to change.
You put your business
voice.
Right. We put that business voice on. We all the countryness goes out of our voice, and we just.
Good afternoon, officer. Was I doing something?
Sure, good afternoon. Hello. I know what's wrong. I was speeding. I don't know.
Oh my gracious! I did not mean to do that.
Right, you right out of driving course class. You rolling down the window. Evening, officer. There are problems there. So
first of all, if at least for me experiencing down here, if you watch people drive when an officer is on the road, it is ridiculous. I'm like, can we please drive? Everyone's like doing 25 in a 45, like just behind the officer. It is the funniest thing to me, but it's what happens. So
I guess I'm asking.
Good question.
If you see, because we have another question from a guest, from somebody in the comments, but is it a little bit more? Let's get real. Is it a little bit more nerve-wracking if you see, a Black youngster, what I'm saying, you're like, okay, versus a white person and you stop them? Is it a little easier, or do you guys not see that?
I can speak for me. Now, when you say youngster, you mean what do you mean? As far as age-wise?
What I mean is, you may see somebody who's Black a younger generation guy. He may, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because just because a young man sags or looks a certain way does not mean he's bad.
So do you treat someone who looks like a stereotype of an African American differently than someone who is melanin deficient? Is what you're asking?
See, that's why we love you, Black Pearl. See, that's why you always get member of the week.
I like that. No, for me, I try to treat everybody the same. It all depends on what I'm walking into. Sometimes you can automatically know off the gate what you're dealing with or what it's being called out before. It's something that I initiate myself. But I have stopped several young Black men, and if they're like, what's up, officer? Well, what's up? Hey, you know why I stopped you? I try to give them the same energy they're giving me, and the good energy at that. I try to give it back to them, and they respect it a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but also doing what I have to do as well, so it doesn't steer me away from my job.
Okay. I know myself I mean, and this is why I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because myself as a black man, I'm not going to lie. I can know that I'm going. I mean, if I see a police officer behind me, they don't even have to turn on their lights. I automatically look at my dashboard like, oh Lord, how fast was I going? And
I'm getting nervous, man. You get nervous.
Believe it or not, even when I'm off duty, I still get nervous when cops are behind me. Believe it or not,
right?
I do.
Right.
I'm gonna be real with you. So I grew up in New York. I never had nervousness about cops until I got down south.
Why is that?
Because first of all, there's too much crap going on in New York for police officers
exactly
to follow you and look at. It's just like, I didn't shoot nobody. I ain't got no coke or weed on me. Keep it moving.
They were stopping, frisking people up there.
Nah,
they probably just
Amadou Diallo was getting
the police officers up there wear their suit with Timberlands. Like, yo, why I stopped you, B?
So here's the thing. To me, of course, I'm saying to me because I have two different experiences. I feel like the cops in New York don't have the time to just, look at this random person in his Hyundai. Let me ride behind you and run your plates. There are people who go 10 years without a license and insurance and never worry about the cops. It's just so much stuff going on, right? It's so much stuff going on that I guess I'm calling them a petty crime is not worth it when someone's getting shot and a store's getting robbed. And
absolutely,
it's just not the same. The energy is on the big things. Right. The city down here, I literally can just be on the less melanin side of town and be followed like I am a suspect. You know what I mean? And yet it's less for me than, let's say, for Tyrone. But I just find more people fit the description down here than in New York. That's just me. That's my experience. It is what it is.
I think it goes. I think it goes by police departments too. I think a lot of times people say just police all in general, but some police departments are pretty good. I've lived a lot of different places, and some of the police departments have been trash, and they've had like some issues. And I kind of look at it as per police department. And then I take it by per police, when I'm dealing with police. I don't feel like I'm, when people say like, are they hunting you down and killing black people? I don't feel like I'm being hunted, but I do feel like when I get pulled over, there's a black man lottery that you automatically play. And, and there's a good chance you might win that lottery and you get a live one, which because I had one jump out with a hand on a gun, like white knuckles for no reason. And I'm grabbing on the steering wheel tight, and she's grabbing on the gun tight, and she's like, "Get your license registration." I'm like, not today. No, you
and that's just you just getting stopped. That's what I'm saying. You just getting stopped in your car.
I was in my I was in my neighborhood, and she got on the speaker and was like, "Pull over right now. What's wrong with?" So I had a tag expired. I procrastinated like a lot of people. Had a tag expired. Put in my neighborhood. She thought I was trying to get away from her. Looked at my neighborhood. I guess it's not like I live in Bel Air, but figured I wouldn't live there. And she was like, "Oh, you're trying to get away from me." Came out, hand on the gun, squeezing the. I was like, "Oh my Lord, I won the lottery today," and I'm like, I'm not moving at all until you calm down. And it was just a whole ordeal. And then eventually, she got my name, and the school I work at, we have resource officers, and it's the same police department, and I know that one of the cops there. I dropped his name, and she was like, and all of a sudden she went from need to squeeze my gun, might have to Swiss cheese you to, "Oh, Mr. Knox, they just go downtown, they'll dismiss it, no problem." I was like, dang, Dr. Jekyll, what the hell's going on out here?
I think that I'm not agreeing with the way that she treated you, but there's so much fear, right? Cops know that we're scared of them. Duh. Cops know their stereotypes. Just like we're scared because we're like, look at what you've done. And so we're all humans. That's our biggest flaw and our biggest strength all at the same time.
I kind of like have a question for sure. To piggyback off of what everybody else was saying, there is a fear. And the fear is, are we going to get arrested at this time? Okay, if we do get stopped, why is it that African Americans are targeted more than any other race in the world at police stops? Why is it that they get killed, or why is it that they're more likely to be searched or killed or stopped by police officers when other people may get a pass, they may get a warning or whatever? We gonna get pulled out of the car, we got to get down on our face, we got to why is that? Why do you think that is, Show?
I can't really speak on why blacks are targeted. Like I said, I can speak for me and what I see. I know a lot of things. A lot of black people may say is that police officers they racially profile black people. If that's a thing that we do. The only time I would profile someone is if I get a call on the radio to say, hey, we're looking for black male subject. He's wearing such and such. Okay, he's in such and such area. If I go in that area and I see a black male and it's not the description that they're telling me it is, why should I have to go approach that guy? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's when I use racial profiling, is when it's called out to me, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to stop every black person because because you're black. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I know in the department where I worked at, I've arrested a lot of black people, and that's because the town was predominantly black. There were times where it was an incident where there was a white and black person involved, and I've had the black person tell me, oh, you talking to them first because they're white. No, I'm not talking to them first because they're white. I just need to know what's going on. I got to talk to both parties before I decide what I can do.
Yeah.
And now don't get me wrong, there probably are some officers that are racist. Okay. I'm pretty sure pretty sure there is. It's just those bad apples, man. Those bad apples, and it makes it very hard for the good ones out there because they all look at us the same. You wear a uniform, you wear a badge, they look at us all the exact same, no matter how good of a job you do when dealing with them.
I agree. I know.
Find them and get them out. It's like you got a big delicious bowl of soup, and you drop one booger in it.
Oh,
nobody wants that soup no more.
Awesome analogy.
That soup away. That soup is gross.
Booger soup.
That was your example, Tyrone.
That's how bad cops are in a police department.
But I can agree because you have good law-abiding citizens. You have law-abiding citizens in the world, but because you have some bad apples, it kind of sort of like puts a stigma on the good ones, and it makes everybody put everybody in one bowl.
And I know a couple of people who are in law enforcement, not that many, and they're really good people altogether, and all they talk about is the stress that they get being good.
Right.
We coming to that, Shalaka. We coming to that. That's coming.
I like that. I like that question that was just asked.
Right. We coming to that. That's
okay.
we getting that. But I definitely know that there is a fear. I mean, we fear. I tense up, and I want to make that officer feel that I'm not a threat. Some people. I'm gonna be honest. Some people might call that cooning because you have a lot of people that say, "Hey, I got rights, and I'm gonna sit up here and you can't do." Me personally, I'm gonna make the officer feel like, hey, this guy is not a threat. So when you come up there, do you know why I stopped you, sir? No, I know you're gonna give me a good reason, though, officer.
Absolutely.
So I'm playing that role. My voice changes and everything. So some people might be like, oh, KJ, you cooning or selling out. I'm sorry, but I want to make it home. And to be fair to you in law enforcement show, I know that you guys want to get home to your families too. Now, I'm not giving people a pass that are doing terrible things out there. I'm not giving a pass to anybody, but I know at the end of the day, when you put your suit on, you're strapping up, you're praying, and you want to make it back home to your people. So I know once you approach a car and you have no idea what's in there or that threat, and you can't see somebody's hands, I understand that there's a level and I don't care how much you train, there's still a level of anxiety that may go on when you approach a car. Mm-hmm. So me personally, I got my hands on the wheel and I'm talking to you with respect. Now, and that's not because I'm a selling out or anything. That's because I'm
what you're supposed to do.
That I hope to receive. That's because I'm giving you the respect that I hope to receive from you. Like, good evening, officer. No, I don't know why you stopped me, but I'm not Hey, why you pull me over for? I ain't did shit, man. You better get. And that's just not me personally, because I don't want that energy.
But sometimes when you do that, you still get. Sometimes when you do that, you still get targeted. You still get pulled out of the car. You still
I think too. It goes back to like what Tyrone said, the department, and then the officers in that department. It all depends on that one single officer. Because one, he could be he just don't like that certain race that he's dealing with. Two, he may be having a bad day. Or three, he just really want to get somebody that day. He just want to give somebody a hard time. I don't honestly feel like that's just how some people, some people are.
Yeah, because definitely, I was looking at one department where you see the one with the chief put a Klan robe on another cop's desk.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, look it up. I'm not trying to get pulled over in that district. I'm a little nervous there. Your chief is throwing Klan robes on desk. I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
But that goes to show that it dates back to a time before us. So it goes way back before our time.
And speak on it, Nikita. Speak on it.
I mean,
go ahead.
Black Pearl spoke on it earlier. It goes back to where they had that it started in the North, but it was big in the South, where they had the police to keep the slaves in check. They even had them watch the slaves once they were free to make sure they were staying in line and not getting out of line, because anybody that got out of line had to get back in check. So I mean, it goes back before us. Like, this has been going on since the dawn of times, actually. Well, since
it was instead of teaching us how to live in society, because we have been enslaved so long, right? They wanted, that was, like she said, to keep us in check. It's almost like if you have a dog that's inside the house forever, and then all of a sudden they go from a house pet to outside, you're going to have to put the collar on and tie them to the fence. And so it was very similar to that. And yes, times have changed, but I think part of the problem is we are not on the same page as a community. We're not.
And I think it also has to do with the media as well. Media plays an influence, and media is a big influence in how we view things. Programming is a big thing too. Like, we're programmed to see police in a negative light. As Show said, the good ones get swept up under the rug. They get hidden.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, because Nikita is she's foretelling. She's getting to a part of the section that we're gonna get to next. But I wanted to go to 2 questions in the comments before we get to that. But Nikita is on it. I wanted to ask you this. Mike Felix says it's tough because I know a few of them and it's exhausting as well. I feel like nice people get broken down when they become cops and become a jackass over time. Show, are you going to become a jackass?
Don't let them get you, Show.
I have had my moments. I would say I've had my moments. So
here we go, Mike.
So off the
I like she's being honest though.
I had my moments. Just, you got a lot of people see me and they think, oh, ain't no way she can get that way. Yeah, I can. But I try not to show that side unless I have to.
But that's the human in you. That's
right, exactly. And that's
you're human as well.
That's just like any other person. Yep.
Okay.
And that's the thing about police too. I think some people, it's not even like a racist thing. It's just your power corrupts people. Right. And so and then when you realize that
a weapon.
Yeah. And when you realize that with Black people, and you see people like getting off, and you just automatically kind of maybe unconsciously think, I can mess with these people and I can power trip and I'm gonna be okay. I'll choke the hell out of him and eat dinner tomorrow. Now the white dude, I might not get away with that one. But this dude in the hood, he gonna get it there.
Well, I'm having a bad day. Especially when you don't have no real control in your life. That's where you're gonna try to get the most control.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they've been getting away with it for so long. So it's like, if you're having a bad day, go on this side of town, put some work in, you're gonna be all right, relieve some stress.
Yeah. I like to I know you're saying that Nikita was foretelling, but she made a point.
Hold on, because I know where you're going before you go there, because I know y'all are getting into the next segment. I want to address that second question from Mr. Shalaka that will take us into that. Does the Black culture and music and movies and everything like that, does that influence the Black culture and law enforcement? And I think what he means by that, because I'm going to be honest with you, even with NWA and I'm not going to say the word, but F the police, and when we see in music now, if we listen to these young kids' music now, everything is don't talk to the police. You better not be in a cop car unless you riding in the back of one. You know, I don't fuck with 12 and all that stuff. Like, I don't fuck with 12 and all that stuff like that. Is that further increasing the because you look at a 9-year-old child or a 10-year-old child, and that's what they're listening to all the time, and that's what's cool now. And I've even had the school resource officer. I've seen people talk to him. He'll reach his hand out. How you doing today, man? Man, I don't talk to no cop. Do you experience that? Do you feel like this is further dividing the law enforcement Black community?
Do I think the music has a partial influence on it? Absolutely. But also, how are these kids listening to this kind of music? How do they have access to that kind of music?
I feel
now I've actually been in a situation where we got called to go somewhere, and it was a bunch of people on the block. They're not in the street, they're in their yard, they're drinking, they're in their yard, they're not on the street, they're not on the sidewalk, can't really do anything there. Then they pull out this big speaker, they got F the police playing. It's me and my white partner, and they specifically said they said my maiden name. They was, oh, Miss McDowell, you ain't the problem. But that call him every white name you can think of to discredit him, to embarrass him. And they made sure that, this ain't for you, it's for him.
I want to challenge that a little. I want to challenge it a little.
It was kind of like a shock for me, and I felt embarrassed. Like I had to shut it down. I mean, because at the same time, regardless of skin color, we're still we do the same job. We're doing the same job there. I can't let that continue. You get what I'm saying? And it was just one of those moments where he talked to me about it, and he felt so bad because he was like, I know I'm a good person. I was just doing my job, but for them to embarrass me like that.
Black Pearl, it's on you.
I want to challenge you guys. I feel like a lot of times we look at the surface of the problem instead of going to the root. Stereotypes happen way before NWA, right? Yeah. Look at our cartoons. Look at the messages we were getting, and I'm going to cartoons. If you look at the early years of Law and Order and SUV, we were always the criminals until it started being brought to their attention. So before that time, we were getting shown that if you show up on the scene with too much melanin, you are going to be the suspect. You're always going to be the problem.
This is way before NWA.
That's what I'm saying. Way before. Now, I'm not saying music doesn't influence. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the stereotypes, the foundation of the crime, that are the crimes that are happening against people of color happened way before hip hop was introduced, way before rap was introduced, down to your Bugs Bunny and your Charlie Brown and all that other stuff. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you really go back to the cartoons that we love, to the shows that now we watch and we binge on Netflix and Hulu, we have already been told that you don't have a chance when you step into the scene. You are guilty before you are proven innocent, where the rule is innocent until proven guilty. When we go in front of a jury, it is not our peers that we're going in front of. So these things happened way before that. And then all of a sudden social media started to blow up and music started to blow up. And now our killings are deeper seeds, because you will not show, there's certain things that don't get repeated over and over and over again. Like, for example, when we had that quick, I don't even know what the heck was going on, of people who were eating other people. They never showed videos of that, but they had on videos. But for 2 weeks straight, all you watched was someone's knee in someone's neck suffocating in all different angles. Mm-hmm. You watch Michael, and what you don't realize is it's coming across as, well, we're in social media now, and so we show you things. No, we're planting the seed of fear over and over and over and over again, not just for the community, but for law enforcement to let them know, oh, they coming back for you. Because look what y'all did to their people. So it's like building fear, and we're just like, this person's over here like, I'm scared because I'm Black or I'm Hispanic or whatever. And then on the other side, it's like they're waiting for us to mess up because one person messed up. And that was the message that they sent over and over again. So I say all that to say is collaboratively, we're set up to be head to head. We're set up to be like that.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally, Black Pearl. I think you hit the nail 100% on the head. My question is, now there are some people were sprayed with water hoses and dogs and had to face the Klan and things like that and were done wrong by police. So no disrespect, show, but for those people that say I don't trust the police or I don't talk to them, who were in those situations, who were in the race riots and everything, the Rodney Kings in 91, I forget what, the early 90s and things, I get that. But what my issue is when people that had nothing to do with that come, or they haven't experienced it, and they come and say, F the police because it makes music sound good. And then you have a child that has no experience with law enforcement whatsoever because they heard MC Gusto say it. Now they come up to show and be like, oh, you the police, I don't like you. Well, what happened with you, young man? Nothing, I just don't. I heard I ain't supposed to fuck with the police.
Yeah.
So is it, I mean, so it's a catch-22. Do we trust him? Do we not? Are we? I mean, we can't half and half. If you guys are understanding what I'm saying, so it's this conversation is so big, it's so widespread that unfortunately one conversation can't fix it. But I do applaud us for trying. It's been a great conversation. Now, show this next comment I'm going to put up here. You can answer this or you can choose to ignore it. But it was a comment put. He said you shut that down. I'm assuming that he's talking about when you guys showed up at the party. He said you can shut that down right then, but you can't check your partner when he's out of line.
Oh, I didn't go into detail about while we were there. My partner wasn't out of line that night. It was just we got a call that some people were in the street. We get there, and of course they got back in their yard when we got there. But no, my partner wasn't out of line. He was just pretty much telling me, hey, look, we don't mind you guys partying. Just, stay out of the road. Got traffic coming. That's pretty much what it was. And they didn't want to hear that, just specifically, in my opinion, because he was a white cop. And that's when all the racial slurs were coming out.
Okay. Just going to a couple of comments. Dante Dozier says, just wondering what kind of message is that sending to a community that is already disconnected from law enforcement? How are we supposed to trust you? And Mike Felix says, vote. We have to get AGs and people in the right power to hold everyone accountable across the board. Mike, you own it. Black civilians won't respect cops if we never feel they are looking out for us.
My cousin's so smart.
I got
local politics, man. Local politics. I tell people that all the time. I
gotta give Mike the facts right there, man. That was we gotta. I feel like we should get people. We should get people in offices, people that we breed, that come from us, to get in that and get in those seats, get in those places, and say, hey, this is what we stand for, and this is what we will not tolerate, and really work for us.
Yeah, and not back down after they get the position.
Exactly. Because what's happening right now, and I'm not trying to get on politics or whatever, but what's happening right now is that we're being hold for votes. So what people do is, Black community, we're gonna come up here, we'll give you a student and all this stuff like that. And then they get our vote, they get in,
gotta hold them accountable, man.
Right. When they get in office, it's like, I said I would do what now? You forget about that. I didn't say nothing. So yeah, getting people in and holding them accountable. I
don't care whether you're a donkey or elephant, whatever you are.
So show, I believe you did say that you have a fiance.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm asking you this question. You can answer it, choose not to. Being a woman, being in law enforcement and everything like that, is there ever times where people don't respect you? You come up and everything like that, and they try to holler at you versus try to respect your authority. And oh yeah, hey, how you doing? Do you know why I stopped you? I know why I would like for you to stop me.
Ooh, I have gotten man, I have gotten that a lot. I have gotten that a lot. That I have dealt with a I guess you could say, slight racism before. It's something I kind of swept under the rug. It didn't really bother me. But as far as getting hit on, being a woman in law enforcement, absolutely all the time. All the time. Just to get out of a ticket, to get out of an arrest. Oh yeah, all the time.
How do you handle that situation? Do you you said you brush it off, or do you entertain it, or you like, look?
I brush it off. I do brush it off. I mean, you can't professionally, you can't entertain those kind of things. But yes, you got to brush those kind of things off. Yes.
Okay.
It's like you're having a flashback show. You're like,
yeah.
She's smiling though. You smiling kind of hard though. Son, you like that? You smiling hard. Uh-oh, might be some trouble out here.
Oh man.
You done let some people off, ain't you?
No.
What you say?
You smiling hard. There's some people walking around free. They spit that game.
She's like,
look, she's smiling. Look, they walking around free.
Make me blush a little bit.
She'll be riding around with the
well, look, let me help you a little bit, Show. As a woman, I've definitely used being a woman to get out of tickets.
Terrible.
Oh,
But you know what? There are people that do that. I've actually had.
I'm just being honest with you. I'm straight damsel in distress. Oh, really?
I actually had a couple of women do that to me too.
Oh no,
they ain't discriminating.
Yeah,
they ain't discriminating. You look good to both sexes.
Hey.
All I know is I was puckered up, zipping low.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I don't want no ticket. Stop playing.
I can't do that.
But I have.
You have to.
And if it works, I'm gonna keep doing it.
You have to.
So now that we've talked about everything, is there any outreach programs that you guys try to do for the community? Do you come and try to talk to the youth? I had a conversation with a brother the other night that I found very inspiring. I was talking to him about coming to my county. He's not in law enforcement, but he does mentoring and stuff like that. We had a long conversation about trying to reach our youth and things like that. And a lot of times these kids just want people to come and respect them and come and talk to them. So do you guys have anything where you come and talk to the youth, where you try to see their needs, their wants, and try to reach out to them and try to make that connect? Is there anything like that law enforcement does?
I'm kind of glad you said that, because this department that I'm working at now, I've been here for 6 months now. So I haven't been able to engage in all those community events, and of course, COVID. But man, they have so many resources out here, and we have so many different units and departments in this one department, and it more targets towards children and like victims of like domestic violence. So and those are like the biggest things, especially domestic violence here in this county where I work. And they don't play around with that stuff. And one thing that the biggest thing in this county is that it's all about the community. It's strictly about the community and making it better and trying to get that law enforcement and community relationship back to what it used to be. And it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time for it to get back to any kind of normalcy.
Okay. And if nobody, I have one more question, and that is for concealed carry. If you conceal carry, especially as a Black man, and you have a weapon in the car, what are your absolutely do not do? Because as now I know it's a lot of people, as people are becoming more at fear for their safety, people are concealed carrying there. And if it's not concealed, what is the way that you carry a weapon in your car? If it's not concealed, I know there has to be a way, but what is the way that we need to be carrying? If we're stopped, what do we need to do? Because the last thing you want to do is, I know the last thing you want to do is, hey, officer, I got a gun, and then just try to show it, because that could be.
I had someone to do that. I've actually had someone to do that. They pulled it out and said, hey, look, officer, I got a gun. That he throws it on the dash.
Really?
But yeah. So the biggest thing you want to do is, keep your hands, of course, where the officer can see it, whether it's on the steering wheel, on the dash, up on the, the roof of the car. But but definitely the first thing that need to come out of your mouth is, I have a weapon on me, and let them know where the weapon is. That's the very first thing you want to do. And if you're carrying a gun, if it's not on your person, you want to keep it in the glove compartment, or you want to keep it in your trunk.
Does it have to be locked?
In your trunk, yes. You want to keep it locked in your trunk.
In the glove compartment, does it have to? If you do not have a concealed carry, does it have to be locked in your glove compartment?
If you do not have a concealed carry, yes.
Okay. All right. So and let's say, because I mean, as a black man, I'm telling you, I'm having my hands on the wheel. The officer, well, can I see the weapon? I am not comfortable reaching for that weapon. Is it okay if I say, I have no problem with you seeing my weapon? However, can I step out and you remove the weapon and do what you need to do? Is that okay?
That is definitely okay.
Okay.
That is definitely okay.
That's what I'm doing.
So you heard it there first, people. If you have a weapon in the car, please do not go and be like, hey, I got a gun, and then show it to them.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna let them go get that weapon. Look, I abide by all rules. I'm polite. If they Swiss cheese me, burn it down because I didn't deserve it.
If you guys were to ever see me in public, you'll never know that I'm a cop. I do not carry my gun on me. I'm not saying y'all come find me, but you will not see my gun on me. I will look like a normal person. I blend in just fine. You would never know I'm a cop.
All right. Well, show. We've come to the end of our hour. It was very informative. I mean, it's so much more still to talk about in the future. We're going to have to bring you back on for part 2 of this so we can come and dive even a little bit deeper into the subject. I think that this was an excellent conversation that everybody needed to hear. And if people weren't here, they missed a good one. So at this time, everybody go and say your final thoughts. So I want to start with you, Miss Nikita. What is your final thoughts for the evening?
My final thoughts is, as far as the police go, we all, try to do the right thing. We want to do the right thing. We mostly are law-abiding citizens. We just have to look at it from a different point of view and not let people, the media or anybody else, poison us against the police. You're going to have some rotten apples. You do have rotten apples, but don't let that spoil it for everybody. Show seems to be a great officer. I commend you. You keep doing a great job. Thank you for your service. And you guys stay safe, stay in love God, love everybody.
All right. Great stuff, Nikita. Mr. Tyrone, it's on you.
All right. So my thoughts on just reflecting back and everything. I would just love to say what doesn't get said a lot, I think, in these conversations is Black people, we like the police. We want the police to be there. A lot of times people have this misconception that you hate the police when you criticize the police. You can criticize and still want the police to be there. I criticize when things are wrong, but I respect the police. I got a lot of law enforcement friends. I just don't want to get bust upside the head when I call them, and them thinking that I'm the wrong person and all of that stuff. That's all. We just want to be treated right. And I think another misconception is we worry about all the killings, but it's the treatment too. There's some officers that don't treat us right and haven't treated us right, and so we're scared. And remember, fear and anger are the heads and tails of the same coin. A lot of the anger that we see is really fear. So we got to kind of deal with that, And other than that, man, it's a lot of topics here that we can get into more, and hopefully I can be on when we do that because I got a lot to say about that. But the hour's up, so next person.
All right, Show. What do you have anything to say to the guests at home?
This was very interesting to be here tonight. Of course, this was more up my alley. It's nice listening to you guys' comments and the things that you guys wanted to express when it's coming to law enforcement, and I'm just happy to be a part of it because I don't get someone to just say, hey, this is how I feel about law enforcement, or they someone to say, hey, I got questions about how things are done in law enforcement. I don't get asked that all the time, so it was good to be a part of this tonight and to actually hear you guys' voice your opinion. So I enjoyed it.
All right, we appreciate having you on. We do. Black Pearl, bring us home.
Like so many topics that we discuss, we only hit the surface of this disconnect between the community and law enforcement. I think it's just a reminder that we need to change our mindset in our community, and we really need to change how we view things. And similar to what Tyrone said, stop living in fear all the time. we need to start finding a way for us to come together, because a lot of the things we experience, just the things we talk here, is just really perspective. It's not really facts that we're building on. So it would just be nice to see law enforcement and the community come together, because guess where we're getting our law enforcement people from? The community, right? So it just would be good if we realize that the disconnect starts at the root of whatever the communication and disconnect is in our community pours out into things like the law enforcement, and we get those things back. So I think this was an excellent conversation. I just think it was we just hit the surface. We didn't get deep. That's all.
Right. I see Nikita shaking her head. We got more.
I think we did the G-rated version.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to have to take the gloves off if
we put our toes in the water.
I don't even think it was a toe. I don't even think it was a toe.
It was a little toe. I'm trying to get my thighs wet next time.
Ow.
What?
Ow.
Right, don't do me like that now. Don't do me like that. Come on.
Okay. But guys,
you gave me a hell no.
You lucky I ain't give you this one. But guys, what I want to say to the people, I do understand some people do have the unfortunate circumstance of going through things. Us as Black people, we as a race have been through things that people cannot fathom. We are targeted. We have, as Nikita and Black Pearl have said, this has been since the beginning, that we have been oppressed or mistreated. So I understand frustration and I understand people being angry. But all I ask is that you make your own decisions. Do not listen to somebody that makes $1 million to tell you how to feel about a certain people or law enforcement or something like that. If they're there to protect you and that's all that they've done, don't let the media or these music tell you how to feel. Make your own decisions about things. All right. So, guys, I want to say that I have really enjoyed it. This was a great conversation. And as you guys have said, we just put our toes in the water. And Nikita, yes, this was the G-rated version. Hopefully we can come back and dive a little bit deeper into things the next time. Please tune in next week, guys. We're going to bring some more heat for you. And thank you for tuning into the Good Guy Experience, where the experience is always good, guys. Have a great night.
Oh,